typically politicians use these cultural issues, whether it be immigration or nationalistic rhetoric, in an effort to kind of distract Americans from the fact that they have nothing else to offer. So right now, I think that you're seeing this rise of nationalism in the United States and this pushback against accepting asylum seekers and refugees because of the precarious economic situation that so many people are experiencing. They're looking for a scapegoat, and you have certain politicians who provide that scapegoat. But I think that the passage of robust legislation like the budget reconciliation bill is so incredibly important, because really a lot of the societal ills that we're experiencing right now is based on the anger and frustration that Americans across the political spectrum are feeling as a result of their economic situation. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because this debate about the reconciliation bill rages on. There's a possibility that it won't even pass. And I'll get into some specifics in just a minute, but overall, what are your thoughts about how this debate is going?
Yeah, I mean, economics has everything to do with the way divisions are manipulated by politicians, right? And instead of me offering you an economic solution to the economic crisis that you and your family is experiencing, what if I just told you that there's someone else that's getting an economic opportunity, and that's who you need to fight, and not me for not fulfilling my promise and doing what I need to do on behalf of you as your legislator? And so that's really what happens in many parts of the world. That's what's happening here in our country, and it's necessary for us to fight for economic policies that are able to sustain people. When we're talking about the Build Back Better agenda, it obviously has solutions to the childcare crisis that exists in our communities, that's making it hard for so many families not to be gainfully employed without worrying about their children who's caring for them, or using their whole paycheck to essentially pay for childcare. It certainly has paid leave so that you are not at risk of losing your job if you are sick. It has all of these policies that help you care for your elderly family member or your disabled family member in the care economy. It has policies that address the anxiety that the young people and the future generation have in regards to what kind of future they will inherit, right?
Do you feel though? I mean, it's a robust bill, certainly more robust than we've seen from corporate Democrats in recent years. So do you feel the Democratic leadership is really fighting hard enough for this? I mean, Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader, and when you compare the way he's handling unifying the caucus, the Democratic caucus, versus how Mitch McConnell was able to unify the GOP when he was the Senate Majority Leader, I mean, it's night and day, and pretty frustrating because really voters don't feel that Democrats really have an excuse right now. They have control of Congress. Yes, it's a slim majority, but they could do away with the filibuster if they really wanted to in the Senate. You have the executive branch dominated by the Democratic Party, and voters are getting pretty fed up. They're like, hey, we did what we were supposed to do. We rallied in support of the Democratic Party that campaigned on all of these promises, and now we're hearing all these excuses about a Senate parliamentarian, about Manchin and Sinema. Do you think that Democratic leadership is fighting hard enough on this issue?
I mean, what we have to remember is that we did make a promise to the American people, and they helped deliver the House, the Senate, and the White House to us. And if we don't fulfill the promises that we made to them that made that possible, we're not going to have the majority in the House and in the Senate, and we're not going to be able to get anything accomplished. The fact that we have set a strategy as the Progressive Caucus in saying we want the full agenda of the Build Back Better agenda, and Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and the president himself are all walking in lockstep with us, really says that for the first time there is some unity and cohesion in trying to accomplish this agenda. Now we have some members who are and outliers actually in our caucus, both in the Senate and in the House, and I think it's time for us to get serious with them and say you have to get on board. This agenda is too important to fail to the American people.
And one final question for you, because I know you have to go, and thank you for being so generous with your time. President Joe Biden is attempting to placate, to appease the corporate Democrats in the Senate, namely Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, by lowering the price tag associated with the budget reconciliation bill to the tune of $2 trillion as opposed to $3.5 trillion. What does the Progressive Caucus propose to do if Democratic leadership does in fact move forward with cutting the price tag on that bill? Do you guys plan to continue standing your ground and vote against the bipartisan infrastructure bill, or are you willing to negotiate and lower the price tag associated with the reconciliation bill?
Yeah, so the way that we ended up getting to the $3.5 trillion price tag is by looking at the priorities that we've had, and calculating how much money will go into funding each priority and for how long. And so I think that there is some room to look at the length of the priorities and how long they will be funded. I think we have been very clear that we are not willing to negotiate against ourselves. We are not leaving families and children behind, and it's going to be really important for every single priority that we have laid out to be funded regardless of what the price tag ends up being.
Representative Omar, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for fighting for all the right causes and doing so fearlessly despite the threats against you. It's really a pleasure to see it because it's very rare to see politicians fight on behalf of the American people as opposed to American corporations. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you for fighting and representing the best interests of the very people who put you in your position of power. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I always say it's easy when you are fighting for the people you love and for the policies that will uplift them. So
absolutely. Thank you so much, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.